Okay, how long does it take to train for a marathon? Now, all depends on your starting point. By the end of this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what, depending on where you're up to at the moment, and we'll go through different scenarios, different examples. I'm going to tell you exactly how long it's going to take you in order to train to a marathon, not only to get you there to be able to run the distance, but to get you there and try to get you into some kind of performance, into some kind of personal record, personal best time, so that you feel good about your performance. But you're doing that in a safe way. You're not trying to do too much too soon and get to a point where you can just run a marathon. So where are you up to right now? If you're just starting, we'll start with example one. If you're just starting running, and your goal and the reason you've got into running is so that you can run a marathon because you want to join your friends in New York, you want to go to London with your friend, you want to join in and a lot of your friends are running, or you just want to make a massive life change and you've put that stake in the ground and said, New York Marathon is mine next year, then it's going to take you some time. You need to start slow. You need to learn how to run. Now, that might sound crazy. Yeah, like we all know how to run. If the bus goes now, we're going to run for the bus. Of course, everybody can run. But how you run. Now, you need in a marathon, you need if you think of your body as a race car, and we're going to be doing 24-hour Le Mans, then the car has to be able to stick together for the duration of that 24 hours. Exactly the same with the body in a marathon. The body needs to be able to run in a way that you can run for the 3, 4, 5, 6 hours that it's going to take you in order to finish the marathon. So that cannot involve you being up on your toes like a sprinter. If you've come from a football background or a basketball and you're used to being up on your toes, you can't do that because you can't do that for 42 kilometers, 26 miles. You can't do that for 4 or 5 hours. There's going to be too much pressure on your Achilles and your calf. You're going to have problems and you'll run into that in your training as well as the race. So how do you do it? You need to start slow and you need to start with like literally minute or 2 minute or 3 minute intervals where you're jogging as slow as you possibly can and your focus is your style. So your focus is becoming an efficient, effective runner who's moving over the ground very smoothly. So that involves your toe, ankle, knee, hip, all being aligned. All being aligned, and the easiest way to do that is to keep your arms driving. It's easier to think about your arms than to look down and to look at your feet and look where your feet are landing and how you're landing and how your knee, hip, ankle and toe is landing. So if you just focus on your arms and you're driving your arms and you're bringing your hands up to about nipple height, don't clench your fists, but keep them very light, then naturally your whole body is going to follow suit and your legs are going to move in the right, but focus on both things. Initially when you're practicing, it's kind of like those easy runs. Initially you're practicing how to run. It's literally running practice. So it might be an easy run or it might be a recovery run, and you'll then begin to put structure into your training and add some speed work, which will feed into an easier marathon run, and you'll add some long runs because obviously you want to increase your endurance to be able to run a marathon distance. But when you're doing easy recovery runs, perfect time initially to get started, to run every other day and to be doing 1, 2, 3 minute intervals where you're just practicing how to run. And the focus being, how can I get to a point where I'm running in the right way where I can last a marathon? So from there, you've got that, which is super important, your style, so your arms are driving, your toe, ankle, knee, hip is all aligned, and you're landing midfoot. Focus on landing midfoot. Some people land heel and it sends a jolt through the body. Literally with every single step you're braking. That's not what you want to do. You want to flow. If you think about how a child walks for the first time, it kind of like falls and walks because it needs to catch itself. That's kind of what you want to do, and they call it chi running, but it's literally you're catching yourself on your midfoot as your body is slightly forward, only maybe 5-10%, and then you're moving forward and you're landed midfoot, and there's a smooth transition from midfoot, and naturally you're pushing off from your toes. It's every single step. And if your cadence is 160, 180, 200, that's 180 steps, 200 steps in a minute, which means that, if you calculate how many minutes you're actually going to be out there on the marathon, times that by 180 steps, incredible amount of thousands of steps, incredible amount. So you want that machine, your body, if you're looking at it like a race car, you want that to be efficient over the ground, smooth, light, fast. Think of it that way. It's really easy to focus on smooth, which is obviously your style. So smooth runner, and then light, be really light on it. So fast, light feet, and later speed will come. Speed will come with training. Don't worry about speed at this point. Get yourself to be a good runner. Now, if you're currently running a 10K, and you can run 10K, so you can run 40, 50, 60 minutes without stopping, and you can actually race that. Think about your longest run that you've done right now. So if your longest run is 15K, then it's quite easy to turn that into a relatively short training program. Ideally, from somebody who can run 15K, I would say that you need between 4 and 6 months in order to run a marathon. And why do I say that? Because I want you to stay safe. I want you to stay away from injury, away from illness. If you push yourself too much, and that kind of like, you probably already have the speed from the 10K running, you've probably done 5Ks as well, and you got involved in park runs or your local 5Ks, you probably need to add the endurance, you need to add the stamina. So the way that you do that is obviously at the weekend, when you've got your long run, or whenever you do your long run, that's gradually improving. And you're improving that, you're increasing that every week. And I'd increase it every 3 weeks. So 15K, maybe I'd add it 2K, so 17K, then 19K, then 21K. And on that 4th week, I'd bring it back to 15K. And what that 4th week does is freshen up the legs, freshen up the mind, freshen up the body, so that you can go again for those next 3 weeks. And then you got 21K, maybe 23K, 25K. So before you know it, in a 6-week period, you've gone from 15K up by 10K to 25K. That's a big difference, yeah? So you want to kind of go gradually like that. It's only 2K a week, only a small amount. Just a bit more than 10% to begin with, but do that, to have the consistency, to go gradually, is going to work in your favor. It's going to mean that you can focus on that long run, but it's not going to beat you up too much, so that when you've got your midweek interval session, which is going to improve your speed, which is going to improve your lactate threshold, your ability to kind of clear lactate as you're moving around at ideally marathon pace, that whole training program is available to you. It's kind of like you're fully energized for the key sessions, and you're doing the recovery runs and the easy runs well, so that you're able to do that. If you can already run a half marathon, my philosophy is this. Exactly the same as I've just said about 10K runner, you increase your long run. So what can you run right now? If you can run a half marathon, you probably run 25K, let's say. You can increase that to 28 to 31K, maybe increase by 2 or 3 kilometers a week, and very quickly you can get up to the marathon distance. Some people only like to go up to 25K long run to run a marathon. Some top level athletes. So the chances are, if you can run 25K, you can already run 42K. It's that simple. It's just a case of nutrition. You just need to take gels in, nutrition in, sports drink in at the right time, and you can already do it. But we don't want that. We want to go better than that. We want to be able to get the best possible performance on race day. So if you can run 25K right now, what I'd say to you, and this is a nice little secret I'll give you for free, is I like to do the marathon distance before I've actually done the marathon. So I need to know that my body can go out there and be there for the distance all the time, and can be out there running before the marathon. And for large chunks of that will be marathon pace. So it might be an interval session within a 42K long run, or even a 45 or 50K long run, so that I know it's not the distance is not shocking for me on race day, the pace is not shocking for me on race day. What I have to focus in on is being optimal with my speed to run as fast as I possibly can for 42K. That's what it's all about. There's 3 different examples, including my example. If you have any questions at all, if you're running a marathon, I think you're awesome to begin with. But if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll answer them either in video format, and I'll probably answer you in the comments as well. Thanks a lot.